What's the crack? I got a guest this week. The incredibly talented actor, writer and comedian Ali Fox is joining me here in the shed. We talk about her joining the cast of Fair City. We talk about gay crashing weddings. And she tells me the scariest story I've ever heard in real life. This is Ali Fox on Tony Cantwell's Shit Show. What's the show you're on?
Fair City.
What?
Whoa! Jinkies, it's Paul Brennan. It's been pretty good now, I have to say.
Yeah?
It's a good buzz so far. Now, I'm just in the door only like 3 weeks and none of my episodes have broadcast yet.
And you write all your own lines, right?
Yes, I do. Tony.
Okay,
no,
great.
I certainly don't. But I will say the writers have really gotten this character and I feel like it's so accessible to me.
That's great.
I don't have to think about anything. It's just I read it and I'm like, yeah, I would absolutely say that, and I know how to say it, and I know how to do this, and yeah, so I feel very at home, which is great because that's all you can hope for with a job, you know.
You're the, not to blow smoke up your bottom, but you are the greatest actor I've ever seen live.
Tony,
no, look, stop it!
I will flip this table, bro.
Freak out. I'm going shy. You are. When I saw you in Roaring Banshees, it was the greatest live acting I've ever seen in my entire life.
Tony, thanks so much, man.
Yeah, look, listen, stop.
My
I made
heart
it weird.
just expanded like that scene in The Grinch,
Grinch,
when
yeah.
he remembers the true meaning of Christmas.
You are bleeding at your eyes right now. Sorry. Too hard.
It's red wine.
Can I ask you about Roaring Banshees? I do want to talk about Fair City.
Yes.
But I was curious from an acting point of view. For you to be that good, what were some factors about that particular production that facilitated that ability in you to be so good?
Wow, what a question, bro.
Just curious.
I would say the lads writing.
Yeah.
They know me very well.
Feel free to bring a microphone right up to your head.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
There we go. The lads writing.
Yeah.
Again, really accessible. I think I'm right in saying that they had me in mind for it anyway. Mm-hmm. They had been working on it for a really long time anyway. Mm-hmm. But I think when they had thought, oh, maybe Ali can do this, things might have shifted gear a little bit. And it just really, I know people say this all the time, but like it jumped off the page into
Peter
my
McGann,
head.
John Morton.
Yeah, exactly. They're great.
To the stars, yeah.
Yeah, so I really just kind of got mixed into the fold and it was a brilliant play. I felt very lucky to be there every day. It was like a dream job.
Yeah, you're absolutely brilliant. How are you with lines? How are you finding it now with like, I suppose with Fair City? How many episodes have you shot?
Oh God, well, you're not going to believe this. They do sometimes 4 episodes a week.
Shut up.
Yeah, so these actors, like, they are at the grindstone. Like, there's no let up. So I've done a bunch now. I'm kind of losing track. But to answer your question, I'm getting really sharp at line learning.
Yeah.
Now, I have a great memory anyway.
You do.
Yeah.
You always know details. Even came in here and you're like, Sonny's 3 now, is he? And you're very good with that
Yeah,
stuff.
I remember things and I remember birthdays. I know your birthday.
Yeah.
26th of October.
22nd, but fucking hell still.
Oh, no. Can I curse on this podcast?
Yes.
Fuck. 22nd. Okay, I'll never forget
and
it
I don't
again.
even know if we're Facebook friends, so you would actually have to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do I think it's the 26th? Anyway, I must be locked.
Sorry, you've devastated yourself.
I have. I will flip the table. But yeah, my memory is great for learn line. Oh my God. Line learning. So yeah, I'm flying with it now, I have to say. I hope that I'm not speaking out of school or that will change, but it's been great so far.
That's great. How do you do it? Do you just literally, do you read it? Do you record it yourself? Do you record it to yourself, or are you just sitting there reading it and saying it?
I do both. But I often don't want help with anything, and if another actor approaches me and they're like, do you want to run lines? I'm like, not really. I prefer to do things. No, I will facilitate it, of course, because that's part of of course, it's part of the process and getting to know your fellow castmates and all of that.
Of course.
But when it comes down to the wire, I will do everything myself and record it, and then I'll listen back to it. So yeah, that would be my little routine. Now it might change as well, but for the moment, that's what I'm at.
Well, you're definitely proven that you can learn a lot, because certainly within your raps that we've seen you perform, if you've been lucky enough to catch a Bureau de Change song contest, Ali came runner-up in her first ever one, the winter one.
Yeah.
And then you fucking won the real one.
Yeah, man.
With
I
two
can't believe it.
absolutely sickening raps.
Oh, man. And that means a lot to me coming from you because your rapping skills
Somewhat
are...
of a lyricist myself.
You really are, man. I was threatened by it. I think I said that
Nice,
on the
yeah.
night. Yeah, I was.
Isn't that one of the best
shaking.
things you can say to someone else, being like, I was actually annoyed by... You know what I mean? I think...
You're violently talented and we all know it.
Yeah, I love...
I'm afraid of you,
I'm
Tony.
afraid of you is the best compliment you can give a man. I found.
You're bleeding out of your ears.
I am. I'm just excited. How do you have you done many raps? Because I've not heard you rap outside of those 2 live events.
No would be the quickest way to answer that. But I will say that when we were growing up at home in Kilbarrack and Clare Hall, rapping was our world.
Really?
We were mad into Tupac. I still am.
Yeah.
Biggie, Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg. I've seen them all. Love them all.
How did you?
It was huge.
How did you first get in? I know for me it was the fact that Tupac died and then Changes came out and that was a big blow up song.
Yes.
And that was then Tupac's greatest hits. And then my brother was finding out about Snoop Dogg and, you know, Dr. Dre featuring on that, and then Dre, and then Snoop, and then you know, Eminem, and that was I think the through line Dublin direction for him anyway.
Definitely, it really was. But I will say, even before Changes was released with Elton John, how old were we then? Like 13 or something?
No, that was Ghetto Gospel. Changes would have won.
Sorry.
It was just after he died. That was the Bruce
Oh,
Hornsby
so we
and
were
the Range
really
song.
young then. Yeah.
97 probably.
Yeah. So those 2 songs, I know my school was on wheels when oh my God, what's the name of it?
Ghetto Gospel.
Sorry, Ghetto Gospel. Yeah, my head's up my arse now after a full day of filming. But yeah, that song really like took off and kind of brought new fans in. But my ultimate favourite Tupac song was from years previous, Brenda's Got a Baby.
Oh yeah.
Such a great song.
Such a fucking bop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, loved rapping but didn't do anything with it. And then when I was asked to get involved with your thing, the Bureau de Change, I was like, well, I can't really sing, so I'm just going to start rapping.
Well, you're fucking lethal, mate.
Thank
Are you
man.
Going to do more of it?
Yes, so I'm going to do a music video for the entry for the
great.
Eurovision one, and take it from there, I think.
Great. Well, you better do it before the housing crisis fixes itself, because there's some very pertinent lines in there. I mean, you could probably release it in 10 years; it would still be the same.
Nothing's going to change.
To the same culture.
Yeah,
but,
true.
Yeah.
But I will have to edit here and there. But I'm excited to see if it can morph a little bit as well. So yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Shakalak lately. Do you know the lads?
Yeah, I do.
And then I'm like, okay, that's really kind of bolstering my kind of the impetus to like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And you hear something very inspiring in a rap or a poem, and I'm like,
I grew up with Divo, the guitarist.
Finn?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Small world, but you wouldn't want to hoover it.
Wouldn't want to hoover it. We were in Juno and the Paycock together.
No way, Tony.
He was the main fella, and I was Joxer. Joxer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joxer Daily.
Yeah. And we
That's
did a good.
gas.
Yeah, it's mad. Yeah. He's very good. Great stage presence and real character.
A real character. That zebra print jacket.
Oh my God.
Iconic.
I have some questions for you.
Yeah.
I actually have questions. Normally, I mean, I'm happy to let a conversation flow, and it will flow, but I thought I'd fucking put a bit of effort in.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
Well, look, it's not every day you have Ali Fox coming in.
He can't even read.
What is your name? And what do you like? And do you like me? Take yes or no. What's your history with sheds? You're in my shed. You were very complimentary of it. Was there a hangout shed for you? Did you have a kind of a latchkey kid friend of the parents weren't around? You got to hang out in the gaff, or maybe there was a spoiled kid. Maybe you had they had a granny flat. Any history of sheds?
This is a great question, and I
Thank you very
don't
much.
have I don't have a great affiliation with sheds, but when I was born, we were Southsiders, man. This is gonna shock you, bro.
This is gonna go as an isolated TikTok, being like, one thing about Ali Fox you won't believe.
You won't believe it. So my parents were renting a flat in an old gaff in Eaton Square. So no garden, no shed. So I didn't know what was going on there, right? Then we moved to Kilbarrack. That was like a bedsit situation. No real shed, but my dad kept his tools. He's a carpenter out in like a side entrance job. and I loved the smell of metal, like the metal tools. And if my dad had the side entrance door open, he must have been fixing something or making something, and I'd be like, can I help? And then it wasn't until a few years later that we actually got a house to ourselves, and then I had a garden, 2 gardens, front and back. And then my dad built a shed, and the most exciting thing was he built a little miniature version of the shed to use as a birdhouse, and then hung it in the little like porch bit. And I sat there all day just waiting for something to fly into.
Bird, yeah.
Yeah, nothing ever came.
No.
And then my dad left. But I know, it was grand.
Get the right bird seed.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was sad about the birds not showing up. Sorry, what was the second thing you said?
I can't even remember now. But yeah, the shed thing came later in my childhood because I suppose you need a garden for it. But this shed is class. Like, this is proper like bricks and mortar. So
bricks and mortar here, yeah.
This is no Wendy house.
You know, it was kind of one of the deals of the gaff was that we just you walk through there that, you know, Terry could do whatever she wanted. I mean, I say it like that. She did like all the work. I'm acting like, you know, like, oh, you could do whatever you want in there. She's working her fucking ass off, make it look nice. But all I wanted was this shed. And I've realised now, quite like your dad, there is stuff that you need to keep not in the gaff. And so and then my other shed over there, a little plastic shed that's filling up now. So I might have to get 3 sheds. I might have 3 sheds.
You might have to, man, but it is great to keep things that you don't want in the gaff outside. It's good for, and I mean this sincerely, like feng shui and all of that stuff, the energy and the pathways through your gaff. It's important not to have crap lying around.
I think I feel something if I see a bike in a sitting room, not having a go. It's not possible. It's not possible for 90% of people to not have a bike, but it's kind of like, you know,
it would bother me as well.
You know?
I think we get that from our mas, possibly.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, you just can't have a bike.
No.
My ma won't even let you have a clothes horse up inside.
Really? At any time during the day?
Oh, any time, or during the winter, or during the summer, when you might need one in the winter. Doesn't allow it. So if she saw a bike, she'd probably pass away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did you hang out when you were early getting into like drinking and stuff like that? Where was the spot?
I think probably inside the gaff when my ma was away. So yeah, and I wasn't a big booze hound at all. Actually quite well behaved. I started drinking when I was 16. So like nothing too crazy at all. Started drinking whiskey.
Wow.
And I still am.
Yeah?
Yeah, but it would have happened like little gaff parties, polite gaff parties when Sheila was away.
But that strikes me then, if you were on the whiskey then and you're on the whiskey now, that maybe there wasn't a crazy, horrible whiskey experience, or did you have that and just overcome it?
No.
Wow.
No. Yeah, I have a strong constitution. I actually can't get sick.
What?
Yeah, man. I might get sick once every 3 years or something, like puke. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you get less drunk than you see other people get really drunk? Do you ever let yourself get that drunk? Not even necessarily now, but I mean, like, would have gotten to that stage.
Yeah, I would have, but like never messy or like crying or starting a fight or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose some people just know, like, this, I don't like how I'm feeling now, so I'm going to stop. You know?
Yeah.
Or just slow it down a little bit, you know?
Sometimes it's hard to get off that merry-go-round.
It is. It's so
Or
colourful.
get on it in the first place.
Yeah. I had a similar... well, we were drinking in the house because my ma would work late sometimes, or I have the very fortuitous thing of she was falling in love at the same time that I was getting into booze.
See, I wanted to say that was my experience as well.
Yeah.
So if your man's distracted...
She's very distracted at the time. Yeah. But she was very sound for everything booze-wise. Like, she was like... I didn't have crazy... the first alcohol experience I had was just my mate Dara raiding his dad's like whiskey cabinet, and I was like, oh, well, it wasn't even whiskey, it was Cork Dry Gin. You know, and you just don't know what it is. It says Cork Dry Gin, but like a bit of vodka there. You know, you don't know what it is.
You know, and you're pretending, of course, which is a full-time job in these situations. Yeah.
So that was the first time. But then after that, when it was like, my mom would be like, probably 16, like, are you going somewhere? Are you going to be drinking? I'm like, yeah. And then she would just, whatever, like, give me a Big Al's plus mash plus bread. You know, and then like give me like 2 liters of milk and then send me away, and then also go to the off license on the way to where I'm going, get me the booze herself. That would be like 5 or 6 cans, 6 if it was like some long, like, you know, graduation party or something like that. But you would get me the cans, and that's all I would have, you know. And then I would never get sick, never really make an ass of myself at that point. As soon as I started buying booze for myself was a different story. But with my handler,
Oh my God, the Wrangler.
Yeah, the Wrangler.
The animal Wrangler.
The booze Wrangler. It
Fair
was,
play to it,
so I never really got there.
So
but
it's a nice kind of ease into, that type of experience.
yeah, it was. It just never meant that I didn't go beyond my station.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very healthy, man, I think. Fair play to her.
So was yours the gaff then?
Yeah, definitely,
Nice.
because my mum had met someone.
Yeah.
My mum and dad's marriage had broken down, and mum had met somebody. She's marrying him now.
Oh!
So this is a long time ago. And
They're getting married?
Yeah, so they'd be off like in the early stages
That's a
of
wedding
doing a
wedding.
line. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a proper fucking give a shit wedding.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And we'd be left alone in the house going fucking gaga. And
Yeah.
then I say gaga, it was all very nice. Like,
Yeah.
it was more in the house having a few jars, ordering food, pretending to be an adult, like gas comedy all the time. And then if she didn't come back on the Sunday night, I'd give the kids the day off school.
Oh,
I'm the eldest,
yeah.
put on your uniform. No, you're going. And then I'd bring them to the front door, open it, and turn around and go, day off! It was so much fun.
That's pure joy.
Yeah, we'd have great crack in the house, and it was all thanks to Mom's partner bringing her off to like beautiful hotels and spas
That's
and
lovely.
stuff.
Everyone's laughing.
Everyone's laughing. Yeah.
Apart from the bloody principal.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
I know I hated that convent though. So.
You convent? What school did you go to?
Manor House, near where you
Oh,
would have
yeah,
done
yeah,
your driving. You were
Yeah.
in that, yeah.
Look at the fucking memory.
I know, yeah, 'cause I loved your episodes on that though, Tony, and
yeah,
the squirrel
yeah.
in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I went to school, and I.
It's right around the corner from my
enjoy
mum.
it. Oh, is it?
She's over by the cost quarters.
No
Yeah.
way. Okay.
Yeah.
God, keeping it local, aren't we?
Keep it very fucking local. Hopefully you get all this.
Yes.
None of you Southsiders, where we currently are. What did I have to ask you? I'm curious. It's good to know that you're not too much of a booze hound. But what were some of the weirdest ways you used to get drink when you were a kid?
Oh God.
Can you remember any? I remember any standout heists?
Yeah. Working in restaurants.
Yeah.
Where you have access to some of the nicest fucking gear you could possibly imagine. And I really developed an expensive taste for like Frangelico and Creme de Menthe Frappe and
what?
Yeah, this beautiful like Louis XIV brandy, and
That's a big bottle.
they're huge and they're very expensive. Interestingly, and probably very luckily, I didn't like wine when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I actually only started drinking wine. Actually, this is gas. I started drinking wine when I was 25 on a date with a man who was like, I'm offended that you're drinking Jameson with your dinner. And it wasn't a joke. And I was like, oh, maybe... is that a turn off? Like, does he think I have some sort of issue? Which I absolutely didn't. That was just what I did. And okay, it might be like an underdeveloped palate thing. Like, it's not great.
He sounds like he's got an underdeveloped mind.
Yeah, well, I'm not with him anymore.
Well, a bit of respect.
Yeah, but then I thought, okay, maybe I will just order a glass of wine the next time. And then the rest is history.
As they say.
Yeah. But,
When you were first drinking wine, was it red wine?
It was white, actually.
White wine.
Yeah, red
Yeah.
came like 3 years later.
I remember, and I don't know if anyone can get over this, when you first drink red wine, you're kind of like, look at me, I'm Dracula. Don't you? You kind of feel like this. I feel like fucking Dracula here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
bleh.
With your big, like, purple
Yeah.
teeth and lips.
Yeah, a big fancy Dracula. We used to get this red wine in this shop in London, and it was just these crates of it on the ground, and it was £3 for a bottle of wine, 2 for a £5.
Oh my God.
And I remember my mate Jordan opening it. This was a screw cap, right? And he screwed it open, and as he was just getting the last bit of thread off, it just went boom, and the cat like red wine, and just popped off, and it was like fizzy, and he was drinking it. I was like, this is fizzy. This tastes fizzy, and he was like drinking the whole, like pretty much getting to the end of the bottle. This tastes fizzy though. This is so weird. I remember saying it to my dad, and he was all like, all right, can I just break down the economics of this, right? Like, a bottle is like 70 cents, you know, the bottle itself.
Yeah.
And they're getting it from Italy. So the shipping. It's like, so if you actually get down, there's probably like 30 cent is the product that you're actually, like, what are you actually drinking here? I'm like,
Yeah.
do you don't understand that? You know?
It was probably Jay's fluid or something.
Yeah, it probably was, yeah.
Oh, battery fluid more
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Gross.
Or like that episode, The Simpsons, where Bart goes to France, which you don't really see anymore. There's a really old one. And remember he goes to France?
No.
It was the first season. And and he's actually working on a French farm and they work him as a slave.
God, Tony, I don't think I do.
Mad episode. You'd almost think you dreamt it. Very early episode. Anyway, look, not relevant to this conversation. Not pertinent to this conversation. I was going to ask... I was also quite... I'm going to butter you up again here.
Oh, my God.
Little demi baguette over here on show.
Covered in margarine.
For her to be buttered up. I've always been very impressed. I remember you did a Smock Alley show with literally like a week's notice just because there was space to be filled in
That's right,
in the boys' school. And you just fucking did it. And it was great. But like the fact you were... And I was like, how long have you been writing this? Like, last week, Tony. And it was only because you had a space to fill. And I'm like, that is so fucking fearless.
Thanks, man.
Where does that come from?
Do you know what? It's so basic, but I like to graft. You know, and I kind of work well with a deadline, so I knew I had to fill that space. And because I worked for the venue for so long, it would have been very bad form for me to let that go because they had turned down business to keep that date for me for something else. It fell through, and I was like, I'm doing it.
Unreal.
And I did all my own artwork and all my own invites, and because, you know, the way you get an industry in and stuff like that, because I thought I could get an agent out of it. Of course I didn't. But I did only write it in a couple of days. But then again, like my song entry there in the Bureau de Change, that was like 4 days previous. And
do you respect that as part of your process? I mean, do you respect now that's just what it is? It will be deadline. It will be kind of like fused under serious pressure, but it will ultimately get the outcome. Like, do you respect that as a deadline, or do you respect that as a process now?
Now I do. That's a very interesting question, because I used to beat myself up about it, and I thought that maybe I had an attention deficit.
Me too.
Do you actually have one?
I've done the quiz and I've got 100%.
Oh, okay.
Multiple times, but I don't want it confirmed because I will fucking dine out on it. Like, I have enough excuses to tell Terry why I'm not doing shit, and I don't need another thing.
You will be grueling Leinster with that.
I will fucking lap that up.
I
the best
know,
thing that ever
and
happened to me if
it
gets proven. You know,
totally. But I often used to think it. Now I'm not really sure anymore, because my executive function is like sharp enough, you know. But at the same time, my time management is absolutely beefed. Bad. Like, so yeah, I do tend to work better under pressure, and that's how diamonds are made.
That's how diamonds are made.
Yeah.
Remember Superman? Superman crushes a fucking bit of coal, comes out a diamond. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself with that kind of process, that kind of way of working, do you find yourself locking into something really fucking like do you find yourself locking into things?
In terms of work?
In terms of work, or just, like, I find myself with that kind of attribute because I'm the same. Like, I will make a piece of IKEA furniture wrong, but it has to be done now. Like, I know I need to just get it finished now if I start a piece of, like, IKEA furniture for whatever reason. And I could be putting the doors on backwards, but I'm not going to stop. And I have a prickly feeling in my heart.
Really?
And I can't stop.
No, you see, I'd pick that up and hit you over the head with it.
Fair.
I couldn't have that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I think I could be better with time management, but that would do my head in. Like, to watch you doing that, I would probably have my one token of puking a year on top of it. It would kill me.
I regularly think of something you said to me when I think I owed you money for something, and I asked you if you had Revolut. And you said, no, Tony, do you know I don't? But if I hear someone mention it again, I'm going to put my fucking head through a wall.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
So aggro.
I know. And I was like, just trying to give you money. But you were just like, no, do you know, I actually haven't. I have heard of that. And if anyone fucking brings it up with me, I'm going to go fucking mental. And it cracked me up so much.
My God, well, I have it now anyway.
Yeah, you had to.
And I didn't put my head through a wall.
Is there anything that people love loads that you just fucking despise?
In general?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Man here.
Yeah. And maybe you can relate to this as well. If there's a big zeitgeisty thing and everybody's fucking raging about, say, Game of Thrones, right, years ago. Yeah. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine said to me recently, did you think you were better than Game of Thrones? And all I could say to him was, yeah, I was better than Ned Stark. You fucking joking me.
Well, you had the last laugh.
Yeah, but then I'll get into something ages after nobody cares about it anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm always on the outskirts of everything by choice.
That's great, though.
Yeah, do you do that sometimes?
I do it, yeah. I mean, I kind of have a bit of a thing. There's only so many things, so many times something can be recommended to me until it goes stale. I see it rotten in front of me and I'm like, I don't want in on it.
Yeah.
You know?
I was the same with Revolut. I just could not do it.
Yeah, yeah. No, with Game of Thrones, I remember, I mean, I remember you didn't like it, but you also weren't one of these people to be like, you know, tweet something to be like, oh, here come the Game of Thrones people. You know, like people who are like wanting a bit of attention, but they aren't involved in the conversation.
I would
But
never do
you'd
that.
never do that.
No, I
yeah.
don't want to comment on it. I'm just
Yeah.
better than it, and I'll stay at home and keep my
100%.
opinions to myself
But
until years later.
But I love getting into things after. Like, I gone to Frankie Valley there last week. Like my man had his greatest hits when I was growing up. But like I was just listening to it and the Spotify playlist of all the songs, and it's just fucking bop after bop, and it changed like my day. It was like if I was waiting for someone to be like, how's your day going? I'm like, how's my day going? I fucking discovered Frankie Valley today. You know,
That's a lovely thing,
far
and
as
it's
I'm
real
concerned.
summery music.
Real summery music.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was just, you know, it's all back there, and you can have it whenever you want.
Anytime.
Getting involved in it at the time is great, and great involved. You know, great to be involved in the conversation, whatever the trend is, whatever the zeitgeist thing is. But it's also great just to fucking find something like years later,
Definitely,
and for it to be your own kind of like navigating.
Yeah, and especially now because we consume media and fucking everything in different ways, that kind of fast food culture. If we leave it to get involved in something big, then when we go on to like the likes of Netflix or Amazon Prime, we can watch everything in one go. And we're not waiting to be drip fed. I can't live my life like that. I'm really busy.
Is there anything you're into now at the moment?
Yeah, man. I actually have this class recommendation for you if you don't already know about it. Mr. In Between.
Mr. In Between, don't know anything about it.
Okay, well, every time it comes on or I go and get it, I need to text Peter McGann about it because I want his input on it if he already knows it, and then I want to be the person that brings it into his world. He listens to this, Peter.
He does.
I think you would love it. It's an Australian show written by and starring Scott Ryan.
I've seen TikToks. This is real fucking hard as nails, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Tony, it's gas.
Yeah.
It's gas. It's real irreverent, kind of like just shooting somebody in the head, trying to cut somebody up in a basement, and then like, oh, my arm is killing me, I need a rest. It's like gangster, criminal
Unreal.
stuff. Like you've never seen it like this before. I've never had that type of mad horror and violence presented in such like a throwaway way. It's amazing. So I'm bed into that at the moment.
Because he's kind of a good guy but bad guy, but kind of anti-hero but kind of with a good heart.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you're brought along for the ride. Like you'd be on his side for sure. And he's a dad of a young girl, and just watch it. It's fucking brilliant.
Because you don't see many, you know, hard as nails Aussie cunts.
You don't.
You don't see many. You know, you have what was your Eric Bana had that movie he was in, Chopper. That
Never
was
saw
one.
it actually.
That was his kind of breakthrough. It was one of those like 3 for $30 DVDs in HMV. You'd always see it there. It was always one of them that you'd snatch up. Mr. In Between, will give that a go.
You should, man.
I've seen
It's
TikTok
class.
clips of it and I was very impressed.
Yeah. Are you into anything at the moment?
I've been watching The Bear again, season 2. Did you watch The Bear?
What's that?
The Bear is a show about a guy who goes home to work after his brother commits suicide. He goes to take over the restaurant, and the restaurant's in Chicago, and it's full of all these kind of really well written and funny and interesting Chicago characters. It just feels really real. But he's like a former like Michelin star chef.
Cool.
And he has to basically take off, you know, after this sandwich shop, and everyone is really fucking high strung. It's really funny, and it's got a lot of heart, and it's really good, enjoyable, good looking people being really good at their job.
Oh yeah. Do they lean into the food at all?
Yeah, well, they're all they're good looking in that they look like real people. You know, they're good to look at people.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Pleasing to the eyeball.
And they do lean into the food side of things, which I really enjoy. Highly recommend. Season 1's on Disney Plus, and season 2 is coming out.
Nice, bro.
But I'm watching it on my dodgy box at the moment.
Ah, cute, man.
You were saying your man when you went on a date. You've given me very funny dating stories over the years. Do you know, your man obviously saying being a bit weird, you drinking Jameson. Do you have any other dating icks? Any dating icks?
Yeah, definitely, man. Though I have to say, like I haven't done a lot of dating. I think you would probably be similar.
Yes.
Like I had several long-term relationships, but
I like it that way.
yeah, me too as well. And I don't actually enjoy being in that vulnerable situation, because there is a bit of a weirdness to dating, especially first dates, but that goes for everybody, I guess. But at the very beginning of the pandemic, I thought I would try the apps for the first time ever.
Wow.
And I attracted a lot of fucking head the balls.
Really?
Yeah, and there was nowhere really open to date these men. And I certainly wasn't going to be like, come to my apartment. You know, I just wouldn't do. Not that I thought they were going to kill me or anything like that, nothing like that. I didn't want to bring a stranger into my gaff. And,
Feng shui and all that.
Yeah, coughing all over me, fucking soft furnishings. You must be joking. I have my bike with a clothes horse. Where can I park this? But I went out and met this chap, and he actually is a fan of yours, so I won't say he's probably listening to this.
Nice,
but
sounds like a great guy.
met him on the canal, and there was a spare bench, and this was in the winter time of 2020, so it had been dark like since like 3:30 or something, so it's kind of dark, the weather isn't great, and I sit down on this bench. He's very late, and like that's all right, like I'm not great with time management. I wasn't going to hold that against him, but when he arrived, he was in really bad form, and he threw himself down on the bench beside me, but he sat on one of my legs. He sat down on my left leg, and like he was a very tall, very stocky fella, and you know, heavy, and it hurt me. And I was like, oh, watch yourself there. And I kind of shuffled, but he didn't pick up on it because he was just on this mad tirade of how shit his day had gone. And then like the leg was going dead, and I was like, do you mind if I... And then eventually he moved off, didn't say sorry. I was like, this is fucking weird. I had bought us 2 little takeaway mulled wine things.
Oh, that's cute.
And his had gone cold. I was nearly going to drink it. He was so late. But he knocked it back. And he said, oh, that place where you bought them, I just passed and it's going to be closed now. So that means you'll have to go on a second date with me so I can buy back the drink for you. And I thought maybe that was just a little weird joke that went down the wrong way. It sounded like this chap had a terrible day.
Yeah.
So I let it go, and I went home, and I was like, no, don't fancy him, don't care about this. And then a couple of days later, I was meant to meet up with him for the second date, and the heavens opened. It was pissing rain, and I thought, I'm not walking back to meet this guy for him to sit on my fucking lap at the canal. So I texted him saying, sorry man, can we postpone? It's lashing here and it's so wintry, whatever, I don't want to leave the gaff. Sorry, like. And he went, well, it's not raining where I am. I feel like you're gaslighting me. And I was like, no, that's not it. Never heard from him again. And then he followed me on Twitter a few weeks later. I thought, oh, fuck off.
Gaslighting you into believing, no, I'm definitely not seeing rain.
Yeah.
You're a manipulator. You're manipulating
Totally.
me.
And sorry, the crux of that whole thing was on the first date, when I went to say goodbye to him, he told me very seriously to not fall into the trap of enjoying my life.
Oh my God.
And that was because he had said, like, what do you do? And I was like, you know the way sometimes you never want to be like, I do this and I do this. I was like, I work in theatre, you know. And then as the conversation went on, I was like, yeah, I do comedy and blah blah blah. And then he cut across me, which I fucking hate. Like, let me speak. If you ask me a question, let me fucking answer it. He was, don't fall into the trap of enjoying your life.
Do you know what people don't get is that when you're dating someone or you're on a date, you're kind of, you want to hitch you're dating because you want to hitch yourself to a wagon, a success of some kind. Whether it's like, that's a level of personality that I want more of in my life. I want to hitch myself to that wagon. That's funny. I want to hitch myself to that wagon. Or person seems like they really have their shit together. And it's quite impressive. I want to hitch so like to come in guns blazing, hey my life, everything shit, don't enjoy your life. What about that wagon is got, hitching hooks on?
I just don't know, Tony. And I suppose, like, if we really thought about this without slagging the chap, which I just spent the last 5 minutes doing, but it's probably rooted in like a deep anxiety or possibly a self-hatred, and it says way more about him than it does about me. But like, in like a few months into the pandemic, you're sitting in the pissings of rain. I don't fancy him straight off the bat. I'm like, no, you lied about everything on that profile. And then for him to say, don't fall into the trap of enjoying your life. Don't fall into the trap. Like I did. Yeah, look at me.
I was enjoying that for a while.
So that was the end of that.
What is the maddest thing you've ever seen at a disco or a wedding?
Oh my God, these questions are brilliant. These are brilliant. At a disco or a wedding. Okay, the first thing that popped to mind was myself and a friend of mine, Emma Curran, from school, blagged our way into a wedding at the Hilton at Northern Cross between Darndale and Clare Hall.
What?
In 2007.
Yeah.
The hotel was brand new. And people actually wanted to get married there for a time. Like, it was such a big deal for the area. Like, Dublin 13 was getting like a little facelift or whatever. We blagged our way in, and the groom was wearing a top hat, and he looked like Robbie Coltrane, like Hagrid Buzz, and tails, and like a double-breasted suit and all crushed velvet. It was fucking mad. And the bride had like a crown of thorns, a literal crown of thorns on her head. And the two of us were sitting there going, this is mental. And they were pouring wine and everything. We were done up to the nines. And
did you know a wedding was going to be taking place, or did you?
We did.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be taking place that day. And we thought we could get involved in that.
Yeah.
Kind of walked in with a load of guests, didn't get asked anything, no questions asked, none answered. And next minute we're sitting at this like big round table for like 12 people. And we decided that the groom was like a pervert, and he was trying to dance with us weirdly, and like we were so cheeky. Like, I have no defence here at all, but we were like, oh God, like we want to stay for the free booze or whatever, but this guy is an absolute creep, and like he's obviously jarred. Imagine getting locked at your own wedding, falling all over the place. And then when the bride and groom were going around shaking hands, like thanking everybody for coming, when they got to our table, we were like, okay, this is our cue, like we need to get out of here. And I only lived across the road, so we were just going to bounce back to mine. Sheila was away. And when the chap came over, like he knocked down loads of glasses and there was drink flying everywhere, and we were like, this is the worst wedding we've ever been in. Turned out he was blind. Yeah, he was blind. Yeah. And now we left like two smacked arses on a Monday morning, and I turned to her and I was like, we are never doing anything like that again. She was like, that was your idea, Al. Like, you did that. And she was right. Like, I had made this happen. It was my fault. But the guy was blind, and we were like, he's locked. Look what he's doing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
At his wedding.
At his own wedding. Top hat, long hair, and a crushed velvet suit. He looked amazing, actually.
Pure
like
suit.
real cool.
Yeah.
They look like two characters in a kind of fantasy film or something.
Yeah.
Cosplay kind of shit.
You do that sometimes. You just because when you don't know one, you have to make up a story, you know, and you kind of just yeah.
Oh, we were such literal wedding crashers. So I'd say that was the weirdest thing that I ever saw at a wedding.
That is a brilliant answer to that question.
Thank you, man.
That is brilliant. Okay, I've got some fun ones here.
Yeah.
Have you had any weird supernatural experiences?
Oh, how long have we got,
Fucking
bro?
let's do it.
Loads, yeah. Do you believe in ghosts?
I do. I believe that. I don't know what. Like, I don't believe in a soul. I don't believe ghosts are souls.
Oh.
I believe. Well, maybe they are. I believe that that energy and emotional energy can be transferred to a place, and I think it happens. I think an intense energy can kind of like go beyond the third dimension and live forever in a space eternally.
Yeah.
So if it's like an area where something bad has really happened, that's kind of collated energy. I don't believe like there's a soul that is within us and that leaves and that goes to an afterlife or sometimes stays. I think people die, they die, but I think the energy and the emotions can kind of reverberate and echo in a space.
That's so profound, Tony. But can I ask you, you've never seen energy or a ghost in a physical form taking the form of a human face or anything, have you?
No, but I have heard the voice and felt the breath.
Have you?
Yeah. I've talked about it before on the pod, but the long story short is I was coming upstairs from my sitting room when I was living with my mum when I was a kid, and I was closing the door to the door to the sitting room to go up the stairs, and as the door was maybe like 45 degrees about to be closed, it slammed shut. I was pulling it, and then like I took my hand up and it slammed shut, and there was a sound of what sounded like a bag of chains.
We have spoken about this before.
Hit the door and slid down, and then I thought it was my brother messing with me, so I shouted up, Andy. And you know when someone talks in your ear so loud that it hurts and
Yeah.
it vibrates?
Yeah.
I shouted Andy, and then around, like, and I could feel the breath like Andy in my ear, tickling
Oh, I
my.
just got chills
I
all
know,
over my body.
tickling my ear hairs.
Oh.
And I ran up to bed under the duvet, where of course they can't get you.
Of course.
What about you? Are you talking about fucking face?
Yeah, many times in my life.
Stop it.
So I've loads, Tony. Now I would absolutely burn the ear off you with this, but I'll give you a really big one.
How about give us one, and then come back on Halloween, and we'll go into a deep dive.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
Well, if you like, because now I really do buy into this. So
Great.
any listeners tuning in will be like, shut your head. But
I know if they listen to this, that they bought in.
true enough, yeah. But I have always kind of been susceptible to it, if you like. Years ago, when I really wanted to get into the world of reality TV, right? I was cast in ICA Boot Camp. Do you remember that?
Oh,
reality
yeah, I
TV
remember.
show?
I don't remember anything about it other than that name.
Yeah, well, it was actually really good. You know, they take young women from all over Ireland, and they put them to work on the farmland of the headquarters of the Irish Country Women's Association. It's called On Green On, and it's up near Termon Feckin, right? So I was cast in the show. I was like, this is me made. I thought I'd never get on the 27 bus again in my life. That was actually something I said out loud. Yeah, and then I squandered all my earnings.
Oh, you can dream.
But yeah, and it was a competition as well, and I won the first round. So then that meant another week of filming at this headquarters. But we were being filmed all day long, and on the very first day we had to show up to Merrion Square. Cameras rolling, I'm done up like a dog's fucking dinner. Right?
What year is this?
I was 21, so 2011.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ages ago now.
Just trying to picture the style.
Yeah. I had these 6-inch leopard print stilettos on. The slew of me, Tony, like it was ridiculous. But I had to dress for the part. Like we were meant to be these dopes that came from town, so I was playing a bit of a character, and it obviously worked because I won the first round. But the cameras are rolling. We get on the bus, right? They're filming everything. You can see why somebody would lose their mind on reality TV. A half an hour in, I was like, get that out of my fucking face. Like it was a pressurised situation. But we get to Termon Feckin, and we're driving up this driveway to the ICA headquarters, and the house just emerged from the trees, and I just like got drained looking at it. I was like, no. The thing was like singing at me, like I knew it was haunted immediately. And this is the middle of the morning, like we had started very early this first day, and this was all captured on screen. And they were like, what's wrong with you, Ali? And I was like, no, nothing. But like not wanting to say it to anyone because I don't want to scare them, and also they'll think I'm fucking mad, more to the point. Anyway, we get in, we're all given our rooms, and they give you the itinerary of what the shoot schedule is, all this crap. And I didn't want to be left alone. So I got through the whole day, trying to chase down different utensils in the place. They won't tell you where anything is. You have to bake a rabbit pie. I had to skin a rabbit.
Oh, wow.
Doing like really hard labour. And they're trying to make a show of you to, get a little bit of storyline coming. So I'm knackered, and they're treating you like a dope, like, but you kind of just have to roll with it. And I was exhausted by the end of the first day. And I got into my little bed, and I was just trying to go to sleep when this bright light shone from outside my closed little bedroom door, private room, and it was coming through the chinks around the door frame, and it was blinding me, even though it was only the frame of the door.
Off.
And I was like, oh no, here we go. And then the door started rattling really violently on the hinge, and I was like, fuck. I knew what was coming to me, and I was trying to fake going to sleep as if this ghost was going to leave me alone. Like it was so horrible. And I opened my eyes, and this was not sleep paralysis because, and I know everybody says this, but I was fully awake, and I was trying to sit up in the bed, and I had only been in the room a couple of minutes, so there was no way I was in deep sleep. And there was this owl fella,
fuck off,
leaning over the bed,
Stop.
right, trying to rip open my torso. And he had a wooden spoon in his hand, and then he was trying to jam that into my torso. And he had long, scraggy white hair, and that was getting caught under the spoon, and his hair was all over my thing. It was so gross. And I moved, it moved, and went up against the wall, and I was like, "Get out of here!" And the whole time I was like, this is a trick. They are tricking me. This is the camera crew outside trying to get a rise out of me. They're trying to, you know, make a storyline out of this, whatever. And then the next morning I was late coming down for the breakfast. And Imelda, who was my mentor on the show, was like, did somebody have a rough night? And I was like, yeah. And I knew that she knew. And I was like, what's the story with this gaff? And all she would say to me was, isn't it lovely that the people that used to live here loved it so much that they didn't want to leave?
Shut up!
That's what she said to me. Cocoa Pops spilling down my chin. I was like, I don't
Stop.
want to be on TV anymore, thank you. It was awful. And Tony, I was there. That was a 5-day shoot. And then I won. And I was raging that I had won it, because then I had to go back. I couldn't settle. I didn't have a wink of sleep, and loads of stuff happened to me while I was there. But that's the worst supernatural experience I ever had. The thing wouldn't get out of the room.
The detail of you shouting and then jumping back. Oh my God.
Yes, sick.
Fucking
sick, man.
Awful.
And the old one knew as well. Imelda. She knew.
Do you believe that spirits haunt a place, or do you ever think they might haunt a person?
It's both. And they can hang around in weird little magnetic fields as well. Like, it doesn't have to be an actual dwelling. I think they can hang around in open space, and I think they can go into people as well. They definitely go into kids all the time.
Yeah.
They actually do. Be careful.
No, they wouldn't do that to me. Come back for Halloween. I would definitely want fucking more of that. That's terrifying.
Yeah, it was gross, man.
I was going to ask what the best Halloween costume was you dressed up as a kid. I'm going to save that for Halloween when I have you back.
Do.
What's something, are there any things from other countries that you've experienced during your travels that you'd love to see more of in Dublin?
Tony, these questions are gorgeous,
They're really good.
They are really good questions. This is lovely, and I think I'm going to go with bartering.
Bartering, yeah.
Yeah. My cousin Eric runs a farm in southern Brazil with his husband Lewis, and I've been very lucky to be there several times, and they hardly ever need to deal with currency. The Brazilian real is the money, but they don't really need to rely on it because they trade with farmers in their area. So they'd only really need to go to the shop to get diesel or to buy rice, because they don't have a paddy field yet, but I wouldn't put it past them. But I would love to see more of that here.
That's I'm never asking that question again. That's a perfect answer.
Oh, thanks, man.
Do you barter when you're on holidays? No, it's bargain. Bargain's more on holidays. Have you ever done any like that Burning Man kind of thing of like tit for tat?
Not in any nice, profound way. Slipping somebody €2 at a pool in Kusadasi. No, nothing like that. But I would like a little bit of a haggle, maybe.
Yeah.
My mum did a lovely thing years ago. We were very young, and she joined up with the trek to the Himalayas for Concern. You know, where they have to raise like 30 grand each, and then they go off and do this trek. And we had given her a photograph of myself, my sister Emily, and my brother Adam to keep her going, like. And fair play to her, she went off and did it, like.
Fucking
and
hell.
then a while later, she did Machu Picchu, but she came across this really old, very interesting, doubled over Sherpa somewhere in Nepal, and they traded family photographs, and it's framed in our dining room in Clare Hall, and it was like the only thing the chap had, like.
Oh my God.
You know, and not to say that Sherpas don't have anything, that's not what I mean, but
well, they deserve more credit anyway.
They certainly do, but like, this man was living in the wilds of Nepal, at the foothills of the Himalayas. He didn't own a camera, I know that for a fact. And I just thought that, and I was quite young, I was like 14, but when Mom came back and said, I took this from Pasang Sherpa was his name, and I just thought, what an honour.
Oh my God,
for us to have that, and for him to have the photograph of me and the other two.
Oh my God, bring a tear to your eye.
Yeah. So I always keep that in mind, and like, I would like to maybe have that experience myself, but I've never done any proper bartering. Like, my cousin Eric does it all the time, and he's fluent in Portuguese now. Like, he's from Portobello Bridge in Rathmines. Like, it's mad.
No
like,
way.
Big Dublin accent on him, but like, it's a lovely thing, and there's a real sense of community there as well, which I think we're all after, really.
I'd really like to see a bit more of that.
Yeah.
When I had Peter McGann on, he said you knew some scandals.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Well, you don't decide.
I've heard it from a few people already. He's like, what do you know?
Here you have a few fucking scandals.
I do. Like, like, there's things that I know now that would probably end my career if
And
I ever came.
deplatform me, probably.
Oh, probably. And
Yeah.
Fair City and everybody else.
Fair.
But yeah, like, I think as a woman, maybe in general, you end up knowing or being told things people might confide in you more easily than.
Well, I mean,
you
hair
have
and makeup.
experience.
Hair and makeup just fucking spill the beans and everything, don't they?
Oh my God, they really do.
Yeah.
And my head is like a little pocket for like, no way. Pretend that like it hasn't affected you and you let it go. But yeah, I do know a lot. Are you looking for dirt on something?
No, you don't have to. I realise now I'll put you in a precarious situation, especially given your new employer. But I tell you what, you brought me, what'd you say, a Donna Mead lunch?
This is a Donna Mead lunch for Tony Cantwell.
Ali Fox has brought me some squishies.
They are delicious.
Some
One of
animal
your 5 a day.
bars. 4 animal bars. They're not
That's
cheap
for
anymore.
you, for Terry, for Sunny, and for Indy.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Beautiful.
And I did want to see what was going on with this scratch card.
Yes. Not that I want to encourage you to gamble the whole
No.
time, but
Well, let's see. Let's see what the damage. And I promise, whatever the outcome, I'm going to split it with you.
honey,
Unless
will I
it's
hold
like-
your mic?
Yeah, please.
Here we go.
Thank you. Okay.
Now there's 2 games in one here.
There's 2. Okay. We got a free. We got 100. We got a 40.
Oh my
We
God,
got
yeah,
a
yeah.
4. We got a 50.
I'm not so sure about this one.
Not so sure. Okay. I'm just going to do the nail. I better feeling with the nail.
Nice.
Do you need 2?
You need 3.
3.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all right. Look.
You've never been addicted to scratch cards, have you?
Okay, we got a 2, 2, and a 5. 2 10,000s though.
Oh man,
Had I
we were so
scratched them?
close. We were so close.
See, having worked in a newsagent, I understand that this is pure, like, it's pure maths. Like, they just put out one in a, you know.
It's so true,
It's
man.
not like, oh, 4!
Yes, bro. Yes. That's
3
fantastic.
4s, okay. And this one, free. Okay, €4.
That's nice,
Thank you
man.
very much.
Yeah, let's hug it out. I'm delighted now. That would
Unreal.
have been a terrible dud now if you hadn't have won anything.
What's the first thing comes to mind if you had to spend €4? What would you spend it
4
on?
more animal bars, man. or as we used to call them, aminal bars.
Aminal bars.
Yeah.
Did it still have did they come with a card? No, they don't. There's a different animal on them.
There's a different animal. There might be actually 2 animals.
Is there?
Yeah, one on either side, and then you might still get the picture on the underside of the wrapper as well.
Unreal.
Yeah, it's actually ages since I had them, but I saw them in
No, Sonny's
your
gonna love them.
local spar there. I was like, we need to get involved here. bro.
Unreal. Ali Fox, is there anything you would like to promote or plug at this point?
How's about the Paddy Power Comedy Festival?
Oh!
Yeah.
We're doing a little tasty gig together.
We are doing a little tasty gig together on Thursday the 27th
Thursday the 27th.
of July
Yeah.
at 9:30. So I'd like to plug the shit out of that. Please
be a
do
really
buy
fun
tickets
gig.
from Ticketmaster. Come down and see us. I think it's going to be gas.
It's going to be really good.
Yeah. Well,
You go-
I'll be gassed. I don't know about you. No, you will be gassed, bro.
Do you have any more that weekend?
I only actually have the one, and I've a few other things cooking in the pipeline, but nothing confirmed yet. But sure.
I'm just trying to figure out what day you're going out.
Oh, probably every night of the week.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I'll see you there.
I'll see you there.
Yes,
And we'll
bro.
see you there
We'll
at
see
the
you there.
Paddy Power Comedy Festival. Ali Fox, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, honey. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.